Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you guys for subscribing. And yeah, I messed. I had my picture on there instead of the video at first. So yeah, that's definitely a mess up by me. But we're blessed enough to have an interview with Bigfoot researcher Thomas Shay. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Hi, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, just getting by.
And man, do you think there's any connections between Bigfoot and UFOs?
I haven't even, I have no knowledge of it. In my research, I've never come across anything like it. So, I mean, I don't want to say no, but I mean, it could be.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that think differently. I mean, there's some people that think there is, and then some people think there isn't. So, I mean, it's definitely a very interesting topic for sure. I know that you also have some amazing casts that Don Neal has showed us before. Do you have any with you right now?
Oh, yeah, I got several.
You don't care to
You
show
like to
them?
see a couple?
Absolutely, man.
No.
Definitely appreciate that, man. We love seeing casts and stuff. We
This one here is the one we call Goliath.
wow,
That's 21 inches, but it's exaggerated because it slid in the mud. And it's the damage done to the ground that causes it to be looking big. But we call him Goliath. It's handprint.
wow. That's definitely not a bear.
We got this one here out of our research area that we're into now. They had walked through a creek
Wow.
in the post. And this one here, this here's the Nutella Cast. Uh, I casted this out of a jar of Nutella we had setting up. And kind of funny about this story is because me and Steve Cornell uh, did this, and he made the trap. It was supposed to be a hair trap. We put sandpaper in it to catch hair, and we put a jar of Nutella in it. He brought it. Well, it was out there for about a week, and I went out and checked it. And when I opened it up, it had finger marks in it. I told Steve, and Steve looked at me. He just says, I can't be honest about it. Maybe my wife used that jar. And so I said, oh, well, okay, I'll go get another jar and put out. So I went and got a jar, same size, never opened it, never broke the seal, just put it inside there. Was gone for, I left it there for a couple of weeks, and I came back. The trap was hanging from a limb 8 feet off the ground. Well, it had been wrapped around a tree. The jar of Nutella was almost like 30 or 40 feet uphill. So I went and picked it up and opened it up, and the same striations of the fingers are in it, just like the first one. And I thought it was really interesting. So what I did was I said, I'm going to take it back home and look at it a little more. Maybe there might be some dermal ridges in there or something. And I threw it in my cooler, all this ice. And when I got home, I noticed it had gotten hard while I was in that cooler. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to put this in the freezer and freeze it and try to cast it. Next morning I got up, it was hard. I casted it, and that's what I got.
Wow.
And it's interesting because you can see on this the fingernails where it had went down inside the Nutella. There's fingernail striations. And this is not the fingers itself. These are the strikes where it reached in and grabbed out. So everybody thinks they just stuck their fingers in there. That's not the case. It's where it went in and reached out and pulled out. scraped out. So
Yeah, with his fingernails. Yeah. That's some man, that's some impressive cast for sure. I know Don Neal said you're one of the best casters out there, man.
oh, there's others. There's others.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's definitely impressive though. There was some handprints that Don showed us, man, that was like there's no way that's human or a bear. I know a lot of people out there that are skeptics like to say, "Oh man, that was a bear."
Yeah, that handprint. There's also the left hand. I also got the left hand casted too. Uh, that's actually going up a hill, and the guy that was with me thought it was I had trespassers on the place. And when we stopped the truck, went out and looked at it, we noticed that these handprints were larger than ours. And so I went back to the truck and got some casting material and started casting. And I never showed nobody that cast for a long time, those hand casts. Not until Cliff and Bobo came to the house, and they seen it and they thought, "Oh, that is cool." And John Green, I think it was John Green, has one just about like it. Uh, Now I might be wrong about that. Uh, I get things mixed up on that, but he's got one a similar, but it's the opposite hand,
Wow,
and it's out of the Blue Mountain Range out of Washington State.
wow, that's impressive, man. And Cliff's a very good guy, man. We've been in contact with him, trying to get him on the podcast and stuff. He's a super busy guy, but he'll definitely be on the podcast probably in the next couple of months. So definitely look forward to interviewing him. Man, that's you impressed them guys, man, and they've seen thousands of prints, man. That's very impressive for sure.
Anything you want to ask?
Oh yeah, man. Uh, have you ever had an encounter with Bigfoot? Have you ever seen him or heard?
Twice.
Oh, really, man? Definitely tell us about that because I know some people have seen a male and a female and their kids before. Did you see a family, like a tribe of them, or just like one?
Single. In '87, like I said, I tell everybody I was home from leave. I was in the service. Came home to visit my parents. I was here for about a week in the county. One evening, one of my ex girlfriends called and said she knew I was in town and asked me to come up and we'll go out and do something. I said, fine. So, you get cleaned up. I get in the car and I'm driving up 36. And you got to remember something. In '87, everything closed up at 5 o'clock around here. So the roads were really kind of like deserted. So I'm driving along by myself and it's just slowly starting to get dark. Still light out. And I happen to see this figure up ahead of me and it's warm out. And why does this guy got a coat on, a fur coat, as warm as it is? So when I drive up, I slow down and I'm looking out the passenger window and I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's not a man, I mean, but it's all covered in hair, uh, and it freaked me out. So I went up and came back where it had we were standing. It had already crossed the road. I got out of the car and actually went down into the field and got behind it and was chasing it because I wanted to see what I saw. I didn't believe it. It actually turned on me and growled. And that time there, I backed up and went back to the car. I went home and told my parents. My parents said, "You been drinking?" I said, "No, I ain't been drinking. I ain't been gone but 10 minutes." And so I'm sitting in there in the living room. My dad goes, "You going to go up and see your girl?" I said, "No." I said, "I ain't going nowhere tonight." I mean, that's how bad it was. I mean, I grew up. There's no such thing as hairy monsters in the woods and stuff like that. But and here, I see one. So I started. I mean, everything I could. I digested everything I could on Bigfoot.
How tall was it?
That there, I'm going to have to say it wasn't very tall. 6.5, maybe 7 foot.
Oh, so you
You know,
think
it
it
was
was
still
like a
massive.
juvenile?
Uh, Young adult, maybe. Uh, Now, I have seen a juvenile. We jumped a juvenile once, uh, but they're actually a little smaller. You know, we're looking at about 5 foot. You know, a little under 6 foot.
Oh, that's the second one you seen?
Well, we saw that at a distance. You know, we actually jumped it, but so after that, I started digesting everything while I was in the service. I read, I wrote letters, and at that time, researchers didn't even want to talk to nobody. They're afraid you're going to steal something from them, you know. Or so everything I learned on my own. After I got out of the service, I started doing this a lot. You know, going out in the woods, and I don't go out on state parks or federal parks. I do private land. When people have call me up and say, you know, I got this going on, and you know, screams, and I saw something. You know, we set up there. That's where we do our work at. I mean, we get back. We're so remote that sometimes we have to use side by sides to get back in there or walk in. And the second one I saw, uh, I was in my research side. I was driving my 4 wheeler, and we on both sides of this access road. I happened to see these prints, and these prints are fantastic. You know, it's a nice trackway, fresh, and I'm excited. So I get off the 4 wheeler, and open up my case and grab all my plaster and water out, and a little uh, tub. I'm over measuring, taking notes, everything. You know, checking it out. Uh, I start pouring cast, and while I'm sitting there, I had already took my pistol off my hip and set it on the 4 wheeler, which was several yards away from me. I'm going to say like 30 or 20 or 30 feet. And I'm sitting down there, and all of a sudden I get the whiff of something. I look up, and and this thing was standing right there on the other side of my 4 wheeler. Now we're looking at. I mean, we did after I saw it. We went back and did a recreation, uh, and with a reference point of where its head was by the tree. We got about 9.5 foot. I mean, he was a big boy, and while it was standing there watching me, I was watching it, and man, the fear inside me. I'm looking at this thing. I'm trying to figure out is he going to, charge me or tear my arms out. At one time, I thought about making a dash to my 4 wheeler to get my handgun, and I decided against that and just sat there. And all of a sudden, I mean, he just looked up and around and sniffed the air and grunted and walked on down the ridge. I mean, no fear. And at that time there, I had a flip phone, and I was so excited. I'm videotaping this thing going down the ridge. So I get done videotaping on my flip phone. I jump on my 4 wheeler. I leave everything there, castings and everything. Jump on my 4 wheeler, go back to my car, drive on back to the house, and I'm excited. My wife is saying, "You get something on film?" I said, "Yes, I did. I got it on film." So I downloaded the film, and I didn't get it. In the I was so excited that I hit the reverse on that, and I was filming myself while it was walking away. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, I had
That
big
hurts,
alligator
though.
tears. I mean, I thought, yeah, but I mean, that's how things happen. I mean, it's you get so excited, you know, and we had some situations with our group that we don't even think about taking a picture. We see this thing, and we're sitting there, and we're in awe because we're seeing something. And next thing I know, I said, "Anybody take a picture?" Nope. And there's probably about 10 of us there, and all of us are focused on this, and none of us think about taking that picture.
Yeah, definitely understand that, man. Definitely being excited for something that you've hunted for years and stuff, man, and searched for, man. Then you see it right in front of you. I mean, probably, I know they're really fast as well.
Well, the juvenile we jumped about a week later, that weekend actually, after that Goliath, that big one I saw. There was three of us. We walked back in there, and before we got all the way back in there, I told everybody to stop. I said, "We got somebody back in here," and it's getting close to turkey hunting time. And I said, "We got a hunter down there. I mean, he's probably scouting out a place to hunt." So we ease up a little bit, and this thing jumps up, and it's not a man, and it's small. It's covered in hair too, and it's running along this side of this ridge. I mean, a full gallop on two legs, and gone in no time. And me and my partner at that time, we tried to go to it, chase it down, find it. We was holding on to trees on the side of this ridge because we couldn't stand up on it. Every time we take a step, we'd slide down. So that's how this thing was running around the ridge. I mean, it can. We could.
Wow, that's that shows how fast they are, man, and that's why people rarely get them on video. I mean, speaking of video, do you think the Patterson film is authentic?
In my opinion, it's authentic.
Definitely, you can see the muscles and the breasts in it, man. They enhance the quality, HD quality and stuff, man. You can see the muscles in the Bigfoot, and I can tell you this: ain't no female on this earth that's gonna be 8+ foot.
Every time somebody comes out and tries to debunk it, and they do this and do that, I mean, I sit there and I watch it, and I don't see no difference. I mean, it's the same thing. You know, we didn't have the technology to make costumes like that at that time. You go back and look at some of the horror films made during the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, they definitely the horror films back then definitely was not very high quality costumes and stuff.
No, low budget. I mean, nobody wants to put a lot of money into costumes for horror films.
Yeah, they definitely didn't have the technology and stuff back then to fake a film and stuff. That's just my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that disagree, but let's let's just be honest, man. There's a lot of evidence the Bigfoot is real. I mean, look at your cast, man. Are you gonna tell me a human being was able to do that? No.
No, but I mean, I have found, fake footprints somebody had made. You know, I casted some hoax footprints. I knew that it was hoaxed. You can tell. You can tell. There's no flexibility in the foot. It's all flat. So you know, I went ahead and cast them, and it's in my collection. It's like, all right, this is what I tell people. I show them. I said, this is what a fake footprint looks like. You know, so there's people out there, and I tried to experiment once. Everybody was talking about how the hoax of footprint they can do it. With their molded out, and everything. Well, I got a bunch of dirt and I put it in a big old pan, one of these long pans. So I tried to make a footprint, and everything. And after I got it done, I said, I'm gonna cast it and see what happens. Like I cast it, come out, man. Oh man, now you can tell that ain't no good. I mean, I mean, just a big blob, So, you know, I guess if somebody had a lot of experience with the anatomy of a foot, they can sit there and have the time for hours to shape and mold. And but for somebody to go out in the woods and try to do this, I mean, no, it's time consuming.
Yeah, wouldn't make any sense.
I mean, that's what I wanted to find out. If how long it would take, and I mean, it's time consuming. And ain't nobody gonna put that much time sitting on the ground and scraping out. And no,
Yeah, man. I mean, there's definitely a lot of evidence that proves Bigfoot is real. Do you believe this may be a kind of a tough question to answer because I don't know if anybody really knows. Do you think Bigfoot is half human and half ape, or do you think it's just fully human?
well, from what I saw from the face on the one that walked up on me, it was more human. It had a flat nose. I mean, it didn't have no real features. I mean, it was more, you know, more has more human DNA than primate DNA.
Wow, man, that is definitely interesting. There's a lot of people that think that it's like the Neanderthals. It's just another type of human.
Well, I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be another hominid, But like when people ask me, goes, well, you think they've been here for a long time? I say, yeah, they've been here for a long time. You hear the Native Americans talk about it, okay? And if you think about it, maybe these creatures at one time, back in prehistoric times, traded with other local tribes and everything like that, and they would accept it. But over time, as humans do, you find something ugly or just repulsive, you try to get rid of it, hunt it down, destroy it. So, that might have happened. You know, we actually pushed them out into the wilderness, and they had to hide from us. You know, it's just a theory, but you got to think hard on it about us. We destroy more than we really know.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, that's definitely very interesting theory and stuff. I mean, that could be 100% true, man. I mean, Bigfoot's definitely real, man. There's too many people seeing Bigfoot and stuff, and I believe there's people that know that they're real but won't say anything, as far as like government officials and stuff.
Yeah, they're not allowed to talk about stuff like that because uh, non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that when you work for the government.
Yeah, hasn't there been like a military personnel and stuff like that that has actually seen Bigfoot and stuff?
Yes,
Then the next day they're told you didn't see anything and do not tell anybody about it.
yes, yes.
Oh, you
Yeah.
actually hear stories of that?
Uh-huh. There was a private that was in Galen, Michigan. He was
Hmm.
on guard duty. It was a National Guard unit. It was up there for training. He was on guard unit, and one had just walked right by the bivouac area, and he yelled. He said he yelled halt and all that stuff. Like it just kept on going. So he ran and got one of his superiors and told him what he saw and stuff like that. And he was instructed not to talk about it no more. I mean, I believe the gentleman. I mean, I sat and talked with him and everything like that. And I mean, it didn't seem like he was lying. He was telling the truth. You can tell when somebody's had seen something with their expressions of their face, how they talk, their breathing, it all changes.
Yeah, definitely, man. You can tell when somebody upside that you've been doing it for so long, researching and stuff. You can tell when somebody's telling a fake story and when somebody's telling the true story.
Well, yeah, but you also take the fake stories too, and also jot them down too. I mean, what you think might be fake. Uh, for example, I've had several people talk to me about seeing eye glow, not eye shine, eye glow. Well, I didn't believe in eye glow. The only creatures I know that can do that is deep sea fish, you know. Uh, but we was on an investigation in Illinois, and we've had activity, and we had one come up around us. I mean, it was so dark you couldn't see nothing, and with the thermal we could see it, but we couldn't see its eyes, but we saw the eyes, and the eyes glowed red.
Wow.
I mean, and that made me a believer then. I mean, for years people have been telling me this, and I didn't believe it, you know. So when this actually happened to me, I have to research it some more, you know. If I see it, I'm going to research it. If somebody tells me something I have never seen anything, all right. For example, UFO lands in this field, this alien gets out, Bigfoot comes out of the woods, they come up there, you know, they do a high five, chest bump, and walk off together, you know. So, you know, I've heard a story like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was told. So, and I documented it, you know, because some of these stories are so funny. And later on in your years when you're researching, some of these odd stories that people tell you, uh, you actually have an experience with some of these odd stories. Uh, for example, orbs. When I started out, I didn't see orbs or nothing like that, and people would tell me about orbs, show me pictures. I thought, well, dust particles, water particles, and then I think it was 2014 was an investigation. Uh, there was a couple people telling me that they saw an orb weaving in and out of trees, and I just looked at them like, wow. So I'm sitting there, and they're still telling me this, and I said, and I'm looking off behind them, and I said, "You mean like that there?" And it was. It seemed like it was intelligent. It was weaving, around trees down this trail, and I mean, from then on, I've actually got video of orbs on video. I'm not talking little ones. I'm talking big ones. Big orbs. So that that's one of the stories that people used to tell, and then after seeing it with my own eyes, now I don't know what they are. I'm still trying to find out, but it's interesting.
Yeah, man, that is definitely that's definitely some interesting stories, man. That's actually stories I've heard before. People seeing orbs with Bigfoot at the same time. Some people believe it's a supernatural phenomenon. Bigfoot is. What's your thoughts on that?
Still, I haven't had any interaction like that, so I really couldn't comment. I mean, like I said, I believe they're flesh and blood, entity. But as far as the supernatural part, I mean, I've never had anything happen. So I mean, I really couldn't comment on that.
Absolutely, man. And what is your group called? And you guys have a Facebook page?
Yes, it's Northern Kentucky Bigfoot Research Group. We're on Facebook, and we also have a blog. Uh, I write out our reports and things that people have told us, and we put it all out there.
Absolutely, man. And the Facebook page will be in the description of the video. Man, definitely want to thank you for coming on, and definitely want to thank you for your service as well.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. And this has been the interview with Bigfoot researcher Thomas Shay. I want to thank him for doing the interview. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.